Hey, everybody, I'm Tommy, and you were on the boat. Sandy Wandy, good to see you. Hey, Valerie, glad that you're here. Edward, what's happening? Jamie Cotton. It's a, if you ever saw Dodgeball, love the character that the dude played, Pepper. Great character. Sandy Wandy. So, as I promised, I would come on here and tell you all of the news that's fit to print, and there has been some new news on this case. First of all, let's talk about the plea that the family did last night. Brian Enton early today talked about how he watched the police carry in a ring light and a tripod. Whitby Island Girl, good to see you. Laura Lou, what's happening? And they admitted at the press conference that they will lend assistance to people that need assistance for something like that. But all final decisions are made by the family. I find it unusual. Hey, Nina. Hey, Laura Lou. I find it unusual that yesterday when they were doing that video, they said, we want proof of life. We want concrete proof that our mother is alive. And we live in a day that it's very easy to fake video or to fake audio. It makes you wonder whether or not they already had audio and video. Kathy, good to see you. I believe that they did. I believe that something got sent to them in the beginning, and maybe they thought it was BS. Maybe they didn't answer it, whatever the case may be. But they were speaking not to the world. They were speaking directly to the kidnappers. There was an ultimatum, apparently, that was in that kidnap letter. And that ultimatum said that if they didn't get the money by 5 o'clock today, that there was going to be a problem. They didn't say exactly what that meant. But Kitty and Studs, the FBI didn't buy the ransom note. Well, here's the thing. Hello, Caroline. Leno Gray, what's happening? There were multiple letters, right? They've talked about this. There was a letter that went to 3 different news outlets, and that letter was identical, every single one. One went to KGUN, one went to KOLD, and one went to TMZ. That's the same letter. That letter they have not proven to be BS. There's another letter, another person that made a grab for money, and that person's been arrested. They're going to be charged officially today. I got the impression they were upping the ante. They said 5 p.m. today. Show up. Send us something. Why 2 ransom payment dates? More than one group. You mean, why did they say if you didn't get it done today, then you got to get it done by Monday? That may seem odd. Maybe they thought if they didn't have enough time to pull it together, they don't want to make it so that, okay, now what, right? You passed the deadline. Now we have to kill her. The last thing in the world they want, if this is really a kidnapping, they would like to do this without having to kill the person, in my opinion. That's usually how that works. And they said they're ready to talk now, right, Jamie Cotton? Because this kind of sounds like they got that first document. They didn't take it seriously. Now the FBI and other people are saying, hey, apparently they said in the ransom note that they said something about the watch, the Apple Watch, maybe being broken or whatever, but they made a comment about that, and they made a comment about a floodlight outside that was broken. If the recording device was near the floodlight, if they showed the floodlight actually hanging down, I don't think either of those things are wild bombshells. If they had said, we took a beer bottle, laid it on its side in the kitchen, right? That's definitely not been reported. But a lot of us saw what that backyard looked like. $50,000 is awfully cheap for a ransom. Well, that's not the ransom, right? That's not the ransom. What they're saying is they're offering a $50,000 reward, right, for the public's health. So it's a little bit different. The ransom, my understanding is it's millions of dollars. I think the FBI knows it is in the inner circle. Yes, I think that there's probably a pretty good chance that the FBI knows that this is going to be the inner circle. It seems very odd that the cameras were so easily knocked out. But let's get back to the statement that they made. One of the other things that they say, hey, it's the Johnny Scoville. How are you, Johnny Scoville? Why don't I see Kitty and Studs comment in my live chat? Off topic, sorry. You know what? Happens all the time with other chats too. You may have blocked that person at one time, or that person may have blocked you. If ever you block somebody or they block you, you're not going to see their comments, even if I comment on them. Yes, Taylor Miller. Yeah, that's simply a reward. Anybody that comes forward with information that leads to them finding her are going to get a reward of 50,000. I think originally it was like $3,000. It was something really small. Even the 50. Then it could just be a screw up on YouTube, but those are usually the reason that charges that. This is a very interesting development. They talked about the medication, and the gentleman from the Pima County Sheriff's Department today said, because of HIPAA, I'm not going to be able to talk about some of the medications and what they are. But he talked about how they were checking pharmacies and they were checking hospitals to see if anybody had been going in there trying to get some of these medications. But Savannah Guthrie says her mom needs this medication, the heart stuff, or her life is in danger. And then she said that she also needs medication for pain, or she's literally in agony and she's suffering. She needs this to not suffer. We don't know how long she's been on pain medication, but let's say that she's been taking pain medication for 3 or 4 years, right? She's 84. They say she can't walk more than 50 yards. All of her problems seem to be physical, not mental. But if she was taking opiates, even if she was taking them for 6 months or 5 months, them going cold turkey on those opiates is going to cause her to go into withdrawal sickness. I can't imagine how hard it would be to have an 84-year-old woman who was in withdrawal and trying to deal with that. This is really getting to be more and more scary by the day. I do believe that when they tell us they don't have a witness, they told us they didn't have a witness in the Brian Koberger case literally an hour before they arrested him. They don't want to tip their hat. They don't want the people to know that, we're on to you. We're following everything you do, all of your phone calls, right? All of this. They want to downplay that as much as possible. In my last feed, people were talking about whether or not what Ashley Banfield did is unethical. Here's the thing, man. Yeah, Nina Hound says most likely it's an opiate. She'll be sick. Yeah, and at that age, that could be really hard. When they started speaking directly to their mom, my heart shattered. Mine too. I have a question for everybody. You saw Annie. This is the older sister, right? You saw Annie at the not at the press conference, at the video that they made where they talked directly to the kidnapper or kidnappers, right? There's a lot of people that are believing that this might have been more than one person. And I think I said that the first day too. I think I also said, why did they already release the crime scene? They're going to regret that. Then they had to go back out, put up more crime scene tape, and allow the FBI to go in and do their investigation. It seems like, and I'm not busting this guy's balls, this has got to be hard. This isn't like the type of case that they normally get in the Catalina foothills. But that said, I don't know that they're doing a great job. She's got to be in bad shape. Misal Smokes, sadly, I agree with you. But okay, so that said, right? I believe wholeheartedly that they know exactly what's going on. I believe that they may already be in negotiations and talking to the people that have her captive. And if it is in fact a kidnapping and it's not a murder or a burglary that went wrong and they took the body out of there, I mean, we really don't know. But if this is a legitimate kidnapping, the good news about that is that you kidnap someone and they're dead, you're not going to get money for them. So there would be a serious vested interest in keeping this woman in good shape. Annie seemed like she was on a Zanny. Okay, look, this is what I want your opinion on, right? True story. I want to know how Annie looked to you, because there are a lot of people out there that are suggesting that her husband, right, it may be the lead suspect on this, right? If that's the case, do you think she looked? Do you think that she looked healthy to you? Do you think that she looked normal? Because I didn't think Annie did. Put a 3 in the chat if you think she looked guilty. Put a 2 in the chat if you think maybe I'm overreacting to this. Do I believe she's alive? Valerie, if this is a kidnapping, I believe she's alive. And the truth of the matter is we don't know if it's a kidnapping. But if it is, then she's worth nothing dead. The only way you get paid on a kidnapping is if you could show that the person that you have allegedly kidnapped has actually been taken. You know what? Okay, Raspberry Beret. This is kind of my takeaway. To me, she seemed robotic. And Savannah sounded like she was suffering. When Annie said "ma, ma," it wasn't the same as when Savannah did it, in my opinion. See, this is very, very fair and balanced, and I appreciate that. Tess thinks that could have just been the situation. They all looked pretty messed up. I agree with you on this, Tess. Now, of course, the brother who is Cameron Guthrie, sometimes called Charles Cameron Guthrie, he was he's the youngest of the three children and an F-16 fighter pilot for the Vermont Air National Guard. That would be the Green Mountain Boys. I'm a big fan of all things Vermont, and that is the Green Mountain Boys. That's a rugged group of guys, flyers. But he didn't say anything there. The two sisters did. Kitty says not guilty. Something was off. We are merely human. Was a really weird thing to say. I agree, man. I agree. Run the World says, I agree. It didn't sound sincere. Now, if we do critical thinking, we can say, I mean, holy shit, no one's ever been in this situation. Like, how is the right way to act, right? The right way. But she didn't look like Savannah. And Savannah is a professional. And she's had to report on a lot of things over the years that were probably very difficult to talk about. And she does it as a true professional. This obviously is really close to home. But you can't discount how much time she spent in this line of work. And nevertheless, she was very human. She was devastated. And it's almost like the movie Silence of the Lambs, when Clarice goes, that's smart. Keep talking about the person's name. Keep using their name. They said last night in their message, she's a super kind person. She's very intelligent. Talk to her, and you'll see this. Talk to her. I think that they did a decent job of humanizing her. Savannah interviewed the parents of an Idaho victim. She was devastated to be on the other side, I would imagine. Why wasn't there a subscription on the security cameras? Well, we don't know that there wasn't, Taylor Miller. We don't know that there wasn't. My understanding is that they're still waiting to get information from the cloud, unless I misread that. Lisa Palmer says she seemed fake. She did to me too, but I'm willing to chalk that up to me overreacting because I don't know how you're supposed to act, and maybe the way Savannah acts is completely different than the way that Annie acts. I don't know if you noticed, but the left hand of Savannah Guthrie was like underneath her, and she was holding her sister's hands. Her sister's hand. Their two hands were together. They are not trained actors, and this is not a movie. This is real. And I agree. I'm willing to say that this could be on me. Oh, God, let me rewrite that. Men are lost and revert to little boys when they lose their moms. His reaction didn't surprise me. Yeah, and I don't know that it surprised me either. I think it just must be very, very difficult. Beach Girl, good to see you here. Annie looked doped out. Damn weirdo. No, she's not healthy. Overweight. Well, I'm not going to bust a balls for being overweight. Can I ask your opinion? Do you think something is weird about making your mom take an Uber for an 8-mile drive? I don't know. And honestly, I sat and thought about this for a while today, Kitty and Studs. I thought about this for a while today, but I don't know. I've done a lot of Ubering. I have a lot of family that has. Sometimes it's kind of convenient, but she's 80. She's 84. Yeah, it does seem a bit odd, a bit off. Also, they didn't deny that vehicle had been impounded. But in the press conference, but they downplayed it. They went, yeah, we took a car in, but we do this kind of thing all the time. Then why did you lie about it yesterday? Right? In their statement yesterday, they said, no, car's been impounded. We didn't do that. We didn't take any car and bring it in to test it. That was yesterday's statement. They came out today and said, oh, no, we did that, but that's just standard operating procedure. And I have theorized, because I'm not smart enough, Renee B., but it could be standard operating procedure. This is the last car that she was in. Let's eliminate it. Let's make sure there's no blood in it, nothing that's going to make us worry, and then we can move on. If I had millions, my mom would not take an Uber. I get that, Tess. Well, she has kids, so maybe she was putting them to bed, and that's why the son-in-law took her home, they say. Yeah, I'm not super suspicious about that. I remember being married, and on multiple occasions, my wife would go, "Hey, can you take mom home? I'm beat." And I would leave her at the house and drive my mother-in-law home. Like, it wasn't a particularly weird thing. It's not weird until we're looking at it through the lens of, hey, why did the daughter not be there? There is a lot of misdirection, and they do this all the time, right? This should not be a shocker. I can't say this enough. They came out, I'm talking about an hour or two before they arrested Koberger, right? I mean, literally, it was the same day. And they came out and went, we don't have any suspects. They had already tested the DNA. They already knew who they were looking for. They were in the process of triangulating all that shit. They just don't want to tip their hand. 8 miles, though, I just picked mama up. I agree with you. I think most people do. The mother is rich also. She can easily get a taxi or some other transportation. Yeah, but you know what? An Uber is a taxi in 2026, yeah? Especially in the Catalina foothills. You ain't getting a taxi in the Catalina foothills. You know what I mean? There just aren't a lot of taxis that you see in that part of town. I lived there for a hot minute, and you just don't see a lot of taxis up there. But I called a lot of Ubers. That's how if I was going to the airport to see Quibs, or anytime I had to go to the airport to do anything, I used an Uber. Old women are stubborn. Maybe she insisted. That's a really great point. If my mom gets something in her head, you got a better chance of moving a mountain than changing her mind. Does Annie and her husband have millions too? No. And there have been some rumors about tensions within the family. I can read that there are rumors, but I can't chase any of them down to where they were originally printed. Kathy, it's good to have you here. Yeah, the updates on TV. Look, I'm willing to stipulate to all of the different things that they kind of said about what was happening. But there's some weird stuff. It took a really long time. I was kind of blown away if you watched the press conference for how long it took somebody in one of the journalists there to go, "Hey, what's the deal with the son-in-law?" Because everybody in the world is reporting that the son-in-law is a suspect. My kids have lives of their own. I try not to interrupt too much. I lift all the time so I don't have to wait. I can see that, Gary. I really can. Good Lord, my husband drove my mom around all the time. She liked him more than me. Well, I'm not busting your chops, but maybe he was just a better driver. I'm just saying. I don't know. I mean, you might be Mario Andretti, but maybe it was just a driving thing. I heard they had borrowed some money from the mother for that house. Yeah, all I heard is, hey, Buffy, glad you're here. I heard this too. They said there was a land dispute of some kind, but this is getting repeated. One of the things that I do when I try to track this stuff down is, all right, where was the first place that's reported? I can't seem to find that. Who would want to kidnap this old lady? Somebody getting paid, Nikki. I mean, that's it. Somebody that's going to get paid, because it's one of those situations that it's a headache. Kidnapping anybody, period. But kidnapping somebody that's 84 that needs multiple medications, one of which she's going to get violently ill without. Not die, but I mean, it sounds to me like this is an opiate. I don't know what else they'd be giving her that she would be in excruciating pain without, right? For real. I mean, I guess it could be nerve pain. So it could be something like Lyrica or something like gabapentin. And while you're not going to go dope sick on that, you're going to be in a lot of pain. But I think more than likely it's an opiate. If she took an Uber there and they did something to her at their house, then went back to her house, it could have been to clean the scene and destroy the cameras. Yeah, but if that's the case, how does the blood get there in the front? You follow me? Your theory makes sense, except for the fact that right in the front there was blood. Keeping an 84-year-old woman for a few days is probably hell. Imagine if she was sick too. I didn't see the disrespect, but I don't know that it was intended to be that way. There are people who at 90 have incredible mobility, and there are people who at 75 do not. Maybe a poor choice of words, but I don't think he was being, I know Sickly. I don't think Sickly was being nasty. This entire story is bizarre. I found it strange that her sister was in the video knowing her husband is suspected. Buffy, I thought that. And I didn't think like maybe that she shouldn't be there. But I thought to myself, it's got to be really uncomfortable. Can you know, when you go to Thanksgiving meal and there's somebody there that you didn't get along with, or you had a fight at a previous holiday, and it's just weird to sit at the table. It's uncomfortable. Imagine filming that yesterday, going, the whole world thinks my husband did this. If my husband did, then most of that world also thinks I got to be in on it at some level. See, I knew you weren't Sickly. It was a weird vibe, Valerie. I agree, man. And Buffy, that's what Buffy was saying. It's just a really strange vibe. I can't think of anything that would have been more uncomfortable. I can actually. What would have been more uncomfortable is if Savannah said, I'm going to do this. I don't think you should be there. That really would have been uncomfortable, right? I actually thought it was maybe Savannah's idea to shoot the video because of the Banfield. Kathy, the gigantic elephant in the room. Here's what I think it is, man. Here's what I think it is, because I absolutely believe 100% that, I mean, obviously this was a very, very uncomfortable situation, right? But I think that they have to communicate with the kidnappers, right? The kidnappers allegedly sent an email, and the email says, put the money on this wallet for Bitcoin, right? And you need to do it by 5:00. They're allegedly, that's all they got. Now, I think they got a video or they got an audio of the mother saying, I'm okay, but I'm with them. That's why we saw the video with the response that said, it's very easy to fake an audio or a video at this time. That's a weird thing to say if you already haven't seen something that might be a fake. I mean, if they were to say something like, if they were to have said something, anyway, I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. But this is them trying to communicate with these people. I think they already saw a video. I think that they had to come out and demand some proof. They have to demand proof of life. This is how all successful, and there aren't very many of them, like maybe 2 out of 100 or 3 out of 100. Almost everybody that does this gets caught, either immediately or shortly thereafter. Everybody gets caught. You know, in 2026, the digital footprint of all, I mean, in and of itself, is going to paint way too much of a picture where they can track people. Her mother has also been on the Today Show a lot, so she could have easily made a voice-generated AI video. It doesn't take much. It really doesn't. Like 11 Labs, I think is the name of the app or something like that. But you can clone a person's voice and then get it to say anything that you want. The son-in-law was pictured out and about, so if he did it, who's watching Nancy? Someone else is involved. Yeah, I think that this would have been... I think this is probably one of those cases that it would have been almost impossible to do with one person. I thought the same thing when she said it's easy to fabricate. Yeah. Right? Do you understand? I absolutely wholeheartedly believe this. It wouldn't have made sense for her to say what she said if she hadn't seen something that was questionable. And now they're asking for rock solid proof because, like the FBI said today in this press conference, the final decision on whether or not you're going to pay the people that are asking for ransom, that's not the FBI that makes that decision. That's not the local police that make that decision. That is the family. If they decide that their best bet is to try to pay the $2 million and they're going to go out and pay that, the FBI is not going to try to stop them. You understand? So this was helped. I mean, no matter what they say or how slick they want to be, the whole world's watching them. And we absolutely have a very reliable source that says they watched the cops the FBI carrying in a ring cam and a tripod. They were setting that up for the purpose of filming. Well, this is fun having a watch group party following the story. Well, there's something to that. Hadn't Nancy been on TV on the Today Show? That's a film of her voice. Oh yeah, and she's been on a ton of other places. She's worked as a public speaker. She's spoken at places. There's a lot I was researching on her, and some of it, I mean, a lot of it is older, but there's a ton on her out there. She was also in education. There's a ton of stuff with her out there speaking. They could have easily cloned a video or an audio, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's fake. I personally believe that an image of the mother was scanned onto the ransom note. I don't think it's a bad theory. I don't think it's a bad theory at all. I almost think this whole thing is fake and some type of publicity stunt. Yeah, I can't buy that. I can't. I'll tell you why. This is such a hard thing to fake, right? Once you bring the FBI in, you know, the perfect example of this is Gabby Petito. Wasn't that her name? The one that faked the entire kidnapping. Once you bring in the feds, boy, oh boy, if you're faking it, you're going to get caught because they're going to chase down everything. They're going to chase down all of the social media stuff. They're going to look for any digital footprint, and they're going to hold your feet to the fire. You're going to get caught for bullshitting if you're bullshitting. The siblings could ask a question that only Nancy would know. Yeah, these kind of things are intelligent. I've read books on the Patty Hearst kidnapping. She was held in a closet, and her kidnappers went out and robbed places. All right, what's the other one's name then? It had an Italian last name. The blonde woman that faked her own kidnapping from and got driven out to California. What the hell is her name? You know why it is? Because I watched the special last night on Gabby Petito. Anything you can do to get a proof of life, and one of the things is absolutely Panini. There you go. Papini. That's better. Yeah, Papini was the woman's name. But if you try to BS one of these things, you're going to get caught. It's just that simple. And that's what it was. It Sherry Papini? I think it was Sherry Papini. She was the one that said she got kidnapped and she had been branded. She was kept, and she described the place perfectly. She had a chain around her ankle. It turns out that the nose damage and all of that she did herself by holding onto a hockey stick, having the guy who was an ex-boyfriend hit the hockey stick as it was up against her nose. Yes, I understand, guys. I know that all of you are. I watched the Gabby thing last night on Netflix before I went to bed, so it was kind of fresh in my head. She said that 2 Hispanic guys took her, and there was also a woman who she said saved her. That's why she didn't want to tell the truth at the end, because she didn't want anything to happen to that woman. No way. Sherry, she was from my hometown. People thought it was fake from the beginning. People in my town did. Well, and she got caught, right? That's whacked, Ashley G says. And it is. It's bizarre that somebody would fake that, but she did. And the moral of the story is the woman is a nut job. Well, that is the moral of the story. No, but the moral of the story for real is that you're going to get caught. It's that simple. Patty Hearst did show and participate in the bank holding an automatic pew-pew. That's right. It was an automatic machine gun. The whole thing was wild. Yeah, that's another case that I've done a lot of deep diving on. Whether or not she was brainwashed becomes the question, but she went into a bank holding a gun that she later said wasn't loaded, but they made her do it. She did have a gun. She was walking in there with it and was actually fairly stylishly dressed, in my opinion. I think she looked great in that video. I'm still wondering why a person would send a ransom note to TMZ and not Savannah. Well, look, if you're trying to think outside the box as a criminal, you're thinking to yourself, I can reach out to an entity like TMZ. And I mean, they're obviously going to be monitoring the phones of everybody that has anything to do with that. It was Stockholm Syndrome, I think. Ashley G, a lot of people believe that. Another lady disappeared on the same day in the next county over. She was never found and got little publicity. She wasn't hot and young like Sherry, though. Yeah, that's disturbing, especially when you consider how many assets they were allocating to this girl that was literally just lying. They want TMZ and the press full attention, and it's some kind of, there's a buffer zone of some kind. You're not dealing. You have to realize that if you're gonna reach out to the family, and you're gonna do it right after the crime has been committed, right? I mean, everybody and their brother is sitting like this, waiting for you to do that. So if you send these out to a public station, that station then goes and reads it on the air or whatever. I don't think it's a good idea, but I can see how an idiot would think it was a good idea. Just like sending an email is a bad idea. You send an email and it is going to leave an internet service provider one way or the other. Come here, you big fat white cat. Hey, what are you doing? That is a big kitty. That is a big kitty. Look at the size of this beefy cat. She is just big. Aren't you? Oh, she kicks off you. It's tough. Random, but I'm watching you live at the gym, 63 degrees in Seattle, Washington. Great time for you to go. Well, I'm glad that I could help you out, Beach Girl. I really am. Yeah, ask Epstein about emails. It doesn't matter. She is a very pretty kitty. It doesn't matter how you try to cover this. Virtual private networks, tunnel bears, apps that are made to make your email anonymous. If you signed up for the email without using actual ID, there are email service providers that you don't have to prove who you are in order to make that happen. Watching live at work, don't tell. Shh. Adorable Anarchy, we got your back. We got your back. Lynn says there are no secrets anymore. If and when they decide to go in with warrants, they're going to get what you've got. And it's going to be the same way with those Ring cameras. I promise you, those things got uploaded to the cloud. I promise you. They were not a family that was low on funds, and I would be willing to bet the farm that happened. Remember the movie Sneakers? I do. I am of that age. Heather, whatever. Good to see you. Please, no one throw daggers at me for asking this. Are you planning on doing shows on Charlie Kirk's killer's trial? Just out of curiosity. I will absolutely cover that. One of the reasons that I don't run with it already is because I have very rarely in my life seen more of a hotbed issue that has people so divided. And the truth of the matter is there's no definitive evidence one way or the other on this. So I'm waiting to see what happens. 60 degrees in South Florida. We are colder than Washington State. Oh, boy. I'm babysitting my daughter's sick kitten. Oh, you're being a sick kitty babysitter? Boy, that is above and beyond the call. Heather Rhodes, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. You watch at work, too? Look at all of you. You guys are larcenists, man. For real. You're getting paid to listen to Tommy Scoville? I'm a bad influence on all of you. Sheriff even claimed that Nest cams were not smashed. Again, misdirection. Yeah. He also wouldn't confirm whether they had been taken or whether they had not. Look, Tess is at work too. I love this, man. I love this. I am absolutely causing productivity in the U.S. to kind of take a nosedive, but I'm not feeling messed up about it. It's 46 degrees here. Oh, man, that's awful. It is 86 degrees here. Of course, 86 degrees on the equator feels like a little hotter than that. Thank you, Lilac Lime. This is an interesting case, and it requires a whole bunch of speculation, right? You're working at the bank. Oh, the irony. For the love of God, don't tell them who you're watching. I think, please hey, listen, tell me it's not a Wells Fargo. Are you working at a Wells Fargo? I'm telling you, Wells Fargo's got a hit on me. It's like 26 in Ohio. That's just wrong. Whitby Island girl says 50 on the island. There are a lot of weird church people. I wonder if I could be someone from Nancy's church who took her. I would bet my life that that's not the case, but we'll find out. I mean, there are weird every people, but this required, and we get this a lot. There's a lot of people that are going, hey, this could be, or that could be. This is a very complicated crime. You had to go out, you had to figure out a way to get through the back, and it could be 4 acres. You're walking through the desert, right? 4 acres of land. You're getting stuck. You're getting all kinds of some serious pain because everything in there can cut you. You go around the back, you get in there, instantly identify those cameras and smash them. And then whoever goes through the house, right, disables the front camera 2 minutes before the heart, the pacemaker, disconnects itself, unpairs, just like your iPad would. I mean, your iPods would. It's gonna stop pairing as a Bluetooth 2 minutes later. This was a very organized crime. They may not be smart if they're actually sending emails or if they're trying to use an anonymous wallet to get Bitcoin in, but they definitely planned this thing well. So I don't think that we can go, this is probably some average people from the church. This is a criminal that spent some time thinking about this. Do you think that video staging was helpful? Language used the way that they said it was odd. The body language between the siblings was odd. The FBI set that up. The FBI told them what to do. They have a lot of experience in that. Did it seem odd? It did. It seemed really odd. But that could be because Annie knows more than she's letting on. It also could just be that Annie is super disturbed that she's the suspect. That could make you act a specific way too. Yeah, you follow what I'm saying? But I don't know that the staging was helpful. I really don't. I do know that it was what the FBI was looking for because the FBI calls the shots in this. Beautiful sunny day in New York, but 29 degrees. Jamie Cotton, that's cold. Karen Skyward, how are you? I'm glad you're here. The brother didn't say hardly anything. No, he did not. And he is a former F-16 fighter pilot with the Vermont, the flight boys that fly with the Green Mountain Boys out of Vermont, F-16 pilot. So he was an American hero, right? He served his country and served it with distinction, right? It's hard to become an F-16 pilot, but I feel for the whole family. I mean, there's no playbook for this. It's almost like trying to raise Nick Reiner, right? You end up with a shit sandwich, and there's not much you can do other than bite it. Very accomplished family, to be sure. They, I hope, find her yet. No, they have not. They have not found her yet. However, I promise you, they know a crap load more than they're telling us. In the Brian Koberger case, they lied to us right up until they put the handcuffs on him. They're not going to tell us what they've got, right? I don't believe for a second that she didn't have a subscription for the camera doorbell. I don't. And I think that when this all comes out in the wash, we're going to see that it does. I think that they're putting that information out there because they want the people that did this to not think that they have information on them. But I believe wholeheartedly that they have that. It doesn't pass the smell test. You know what I mean? She's very wealthy. Her daughter is very wealthy. They're very successful. What is the point of having it if you're not having it monitored and put up to the cloud? There's no way that that's the truth. And here's the thing, Nick. In the beginning, that's not what they said. And they've done this shit about 500 times with the press conference because the gentleman, and I'm not busting on him like everybody else is. I know that people don't have a whole lot of patience, right? They expect this guy to be better. I think it's a bad situation all the way around, but I think he's doing the best he can. However, he was willing to tell people a lot about what was going on. The FBI have a completely different game plan. And their game plan is shut the hell up, right? So it's an unusual situation. It really is. Wouldn't there be a video of her cameras being ripped off? You would think so, right? Especially if there's a subscription of any kind. But this subscription would have been through Google, right? Nest is a Google company. And I just don't believe for a second there is no reason to have cameras if you do not have them uploaded because they don't come with a hard drive if they're wireless. And the cameras that she had was wireless. So there's no point in having them. They're decoration. I promise you we're going to find out that there's a subscription on that. That's my opinion. But yeah, there would be a video of that, Buffy. Did they clarify the timelines? Did she physically attend church? No, they have not. She did not go to church on Sunday morning. That definitely did not happen. She had gone to an event the night before where it was like people from the church playing Mahjong. That she attended. Why did it take them an hour? I don't know the answer to that, Christy Anise, but all I can do, and probably the same that you can, is we can do some critical thinking stuff. And you show up there and mom's gone or whatever, and you go, well, let's call so-and-so. Maybe this person came and got her. Let's ring over to here. That process could take, 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, if you think of your mom, Tommy, as I am about mine, she must be petrified. Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. It's a hard thing to wrap your brain around. Rock says, I'm giving up. I can't go another day like this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I was once addicted to methadone. We had stolen bottles of it from a methadone clinic. I was drinking the shit out of champagne glasses, right? I was doing 300 and 400 milligrams a day, doing methadone until I was nodding out every day. And I got busted and thrown in jail. And I'm not joking you. I was in withdrawal for 6 months. I'm not joking you. It was the most brutal withdrawal ever. And at the time I thought, I'm going to die, right? I'm going to die. This too shall pass. You will get through this. But you got to get out and not look at the same four walls. You have to start doing things that is going to make your body release dopamine. Look at things you're not looking at normally. It was 7 minutes between arrival of family and police called, actually. Well, how about that? Did you see that? According to the sheriff's press conference. I missed that, but I'm not going to doubt you on it. The sheriff is vague. He says they dropped her off 5 days later. I'm still not sure who dropped her off. Right? This is something that, Caroline, that's a great point. And I've heard a lot of other people comment on this. Is the sheriff holding back information, or is he just over his head with this? I would say a little bit of both. I mean, this is not the kind of crime that happens in Pima County very often. They said the last really big thing that happened was Gabby Gifford being shot. She was shot at a shopping mall, at a strip mall, and it was very much more city. I mean, Catalina Foothills is up in the sticks. It's as much as it's a neighborhood, it is very much like a bunch of small, like what somebody said yesterday, like mini ranches. Hold on. Savannah said she was in pain, so she could be in withdrawal from pain meds. Ashley G, I said the same thing. They insist it's family, but not who, and that's strange. Yeah, I think that it's just they're playing the statistics at this point, in my opinion, Ashley. It's one of those situations where it always ends up being them. I think whoever it was spent 39 minutes in the house before the disconnect from the watch. That could be the case. Yeah, absolutely. That's a possibility. Montman says, could she have seen something or motion light and got up to see for them to get in? Yeah. And also, picture if this is the son-in-law. He could knock on the back door and she walks over and he goes, hey, how you doing? It's Tommaso. Let me in. There's a problem with my car. You'd answer the door to your son-in-law, man, right? Oh my God, I can't imagine going through opiate withdrawal at 80. I can't imagine going through opiate withdrawal at 55. Some of the people here should look up the term ageism. Oh, for the love. Come on. Honestly, this isn't a group of people that hate. I promise you, JDR. I promise you. It's not a group of people that hate. I get called a junkie, and they're not doing that. It's a term, right? And don't let it. My friend used to say, "This person makes me. Nothing makes me. I'm not going to let someone make me angry. I'm not going to let somebody make me sad. I'm not going to let someone take me off my game." I happen to know Sickly. I don't think Sickly was being nasty, but there's nobody here that doesn't like older people. My audience is incredibly aged. Right? I think that less than 1% of this audience is below the age of 26. And then that's only this much. The rest of them start at about 45 and go up to 90. And that's kind of the truth. I don't think the investigation will disclose all of what it knows. It is not going to disclose anything that it knows. You understand? It's not. And for good reason. They've got to make a case. They've got to make a case, and they got to make it stick. So right now, what you don't want is the people out there that are knee deep in this. You don't want them knowing that you know it's knee deep in this. Look at that. I'm around 26. Liar! You said you were 32. Tell you, it changes all the time. She's 84 with a pacemaker, so it's going to be harder on her. Ageism has nothing to do with it. It's just facts. Well, it's going to be harder on her because, look, everybody ages differently. And there are people out there that are 90 that are going to walk 5 miles up and down the boardwalk today by where I live, right? And there are people that are not, who are, even younger. So but by all accounts, she could not walk 50 yards without needing assistance. By all accounts, her head, sharp as a tack. They said that her mental acuity, she's no different than she was when she was in her 30s or 40s, right? She's very, very solid mentally. And I believe that, what really gets bad is it's not even the age. It's that she's got a pacemaker. She requires blood thinners. She requires heart medication. And she most assuredly, by what both of the daughters said, she's taking something rowdy for pain. She's in an awful lot of pain. And for that reason, did you see I trimmed that up? It's slightly smaller. I've been playing with that thing, Quibsy. Been playing with it. But this is an uncomfortable situation because of the medication. It is so much worse, right? God forbid that this person is in withdrawal, right? Some older ladies I know would be really mad if they got kidnapped, and she's sick too. I can't think this is going to go well for the kidnappers. I don't either, man. My comment about being stubborn isn't a bad thing. I think being stubborn is a fantastic trait for someone to have. We were talking about an 80-year-old woman, which is relevant to this case. Stubborn, according to Sickly, stubborn is a beautiful thing. Then this one here is a national treasure. I'm kidding. No, but seriously, she's stubborn. If it was a family member, wouldn't he or she know she needs her meds? Absolutely. And here's the thing. I have not heard this until today. Today at the press conference, they admitted that they don't know whether or not they're taking meds. For all they know, whoever did this had a plan. Whoever did this had a plan. And that plan involved them acquiring the pills before they kidnapped her. We don't know. But again, that's a great point, Patch, because if it is a family member, the odds that they're going to have that are considerably greater. So this is a good question too. Being so close to the border, gangs, drugs, cartel. Yeah, but so the cartels are very, very into kidnapping, right? It's an epidemic in large parts of Mexico. But there are small amounts of money, and they are really short periods of time. Like you get contacted within an hour of them being apprehended, and you better pay it off in the next couple of hours because that's how it works. And that works. They're successful, believe it or not. But most are not, and those are outside the U.S. Since there wasn't an immediate contact from somebody taking credit for it, I would guess that that's probably not the case. I think there's probably something to that. You know what? Please don't do that. Please don't do that, Rox. I promise you. But get outside and walk around and look at the lake and start to breathe stuff in. That can have a very positive effect on you. But I just know that you can do this. You can do this. Do you hear me? You can. Nina, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And what a pretty dog. Tommy, any reason why they locked down the crime scene again? Does Donald Trump offering carte blanche help change anything the FBI involved already? It does actually make a difference. And the reason is if you open all of the avenues of the federal government, if they need DNA worked on like this, then you could have it on a plane on its way to Quantico within a minute, right? They can literally get DNA results in 4 or 5 hours, counting flight time, that might take you 6 months if it was just part of a normal system. It just gives you the ability to fast track things because of the government. So that does make a difference. Does it make a huge difference? Honestly, I don't know. But why did they lock down the crime scene again? So they went in and did their investigation. And what's sad is the chief of police said, hey, we do an investigation. It almost always takes this amount of time. That's the scariest thing I've ever heard a cop say. Because if you have 3 crime scenes, you're going to have 3 crime scenes, right? The Tate LaBianca crime murder scene is going to require a whole lot more time and effort than this one would. Or the Nick Reiner crime scene, because of how much splatter and all that. All of those blood droplets have to be measured, all of this. So what I found scary is there are outbuildings on this lot. Did you search those? Did you? How do you know that the people weren't waiting in there? We don't know what they searched, but it seemed like it was over very quickly. Then the FBI joins the case and they say, we'd like to go out there and take a look around too, right? We do this a little different than you do. This is, I'm not saying that the Pima County Sheriff's Department isn't fantastic, but this is not what they do for a living. This is what the FBI does for a living. The people they're bringing out, the FBI agents, all they do is kidnappings, right? They got the freaking hang of this. So they locked off that so that the FBI could go back out there. How strange. Savannah interviewed 6 Epstein survivors, and this happens right around those files were out. I don't read one thing into the other. I don't know why, like her interviewing those people. There are people that have interviewed a hell of a lot more than 6. I think that when this comes out in the wash, and you may end up right and I could end up wrong, but I think that we're going to see this as a money grab, just a straight running money grab. It seems like her heart rate would have doubled the moment she faced the intruder. That would show up on the monitor, yet no one has reported on this information. No, they have not. They've only reported about the thing separating. And that may be for HIPAA reasons. Like you could say it disconnected at that time, but anything else, you're talking about someone who right now is presumed to be alive, and this is medical information, and they guard that stuff like you read about. Like they get very, very serious about that. Even at the press conference today, when people said, what kind of medications, he's like, oh yeah, I can't talk about that. That's not something I could talk about that. I heard there is an arrest. Is that true? Yes, there is an arrest, and the person will be arraigned today. And the reason that they are going to be arraigned is that they tried to make money off of this by bullshitting. They sent a ransom note, even though they're not the kidnappers. They will prosecute you for that. I said this earlier on in the week. I said, they're going to catch those people. Nina, thank you again. I said, there is no chance in hell they don't catch these people. You leave a trail, right? And I hope they throw the book at them. I hope that person goes to prison for 25 years. It is absolutely targeted. It's absolutely targeted. But, one of the early reports, people said, most people don't even know that her daughter is Savannah Guthrie. I saw another interview where they were talking to a neighbor and they said, did you know who her mother is? And she goes, are you kidding? She said, Savannah Guthrie is the most famous person that we know from Arizona, and her mom is the second most famous. Everybody knows who she is and who her mom is. So, yeah, there is an arrest, Lynn, but this arrest is just of somebody that sent a ransom note trying to make money off of this. The scum of the earth, the lowest pawn scum, right? Underdeveloped, just absolute creeps, right? Can you imagine having that be your thought process? Like, how messed up are you as a human being? If something like this happens and you go, you know what I need to do? I'll just jump in there and say I got her and see if I can't get paid off on it. Look, man, I've had some times in my life where my soul was really, really gray, but that's black. That is just as foul as it gets. I can't imagine trying to make money on someone's pain like that. Family has to say what to release and so does the courts. Yeah, you're right. The family would have to step in there. But while she's alive, I think the only person that could do it is her. Once somebody is dead, then the HIPAA thing tends to go away. But I will stay on this, people. I promise you. It's constantly developing. What's bizarre about this is that we take 2 steps forward and we take 2 steps back, right? It seems like we hear things and then they backpedal or they change it. They told us there yesterday. I reported this because I actually reached out to the Pima County Sheriff's Department, read their official statements and all that, and they said we did not take any car in for processing. Today they went, yeah, we took a car in for processing, but that's standard procedure. It reminds me of that David Chappelle thing with, like I would just put my boots on Eddie Murphy's couch. I didn't put my boots on Eddie Murphy's couch. Yeah, I remember putting my boots on his couch. It's the same thing. It's like they backpedal and literally just turn around and say the exact opposite thing. They have said that they are treating the 3 letters that all got received by 3 different press agencies. They're treating those as real. They are acting as if. And it's funny because the other one was like, nope, this is patently absurd. We're going to go find this person and arrest them. But these other ones, they are treating as if they're real. And I think they know a lot more about it. I think that's why the initial the initial search was called off. I think that's why they weren't out combing the hillside, because they have a pretty good idea where this person is. I think that they got early on with that ransom, or before that ransom, they got something that was supposed to be proof of life. And that's why the family had said in yesterday's release, right, their video to the kidnapper, that's why they said, hey, we live in a day where that can be faked easily, right? We need some concrete proof. They spent a lot of time in the garage, plus looking at the back, saw dogs, thinking that could mean she was taken by the garage or FBI red herring for public distraction. Could be any of the above, right? I do too, Valerie. And before I leave, like I will do every time, I would just encourage everybody to pray. And I know there will be people in the comment section that say, prayers don't do anything. Okay. That hasn't been my experience. Have you heard reports about her back door being left open? Yeah, Jodine Carlson, I have. But I have also heard reports saying that it showed signs of of the intruder breaking in. Oh boy. It puts me in a bad spot when you say things like that, because technically I should be reporting you. I don't know what part of the world you're from, but that is a frightening thing to say. Please don't talk about self-harm. Please don't. It puts me in a really awkward position, and it's not something you really want to do. That is a permanent solution to a part-time problem. They spent a lot of time in the garage. Yeah, and this is going to be a shit show. And the shit show is going to gain momentum. Unfortunately, whenever they shut down releasing any kind of info, people like me are going to speculate. And I think I try to do it responsibly, right? But there are people that don't. I love Ashley Banfield. But I am very concerned about what she said and the brazen way in which she said it. It certainly makes it look like the son-in-law is absolutely guilty. And when I was at the live press conference today, I was watching it in a live feed, and I was reading the comments. And there were about 4 people that were just spamming it, and all they kept writing was, Tommaso's guilty. Tommaso's guilty. Tommaso's guilty. We don't know anything about the dude. We know he's in a rock band. We know that he likes lizards, that he teaches school, but we don't know anything about him. But there's already an entire segment of the society that has decided this is the dude. Now, maybe it is, right? But if it's not, we're not doing this guy any real good. There's a lot of people praying for you right now, Rox. A lot of people. And I am going to get off of this right now and say a prayer for you. But all right, people, I will be back on later today. Really appreciate you coming on here. This is a hard story. It's going to continue to be a hard story. But I promise you, I'm not going to back off of it. We're going to chase this down and try to get the best information out to you as we can, as fast as we can. They can ruin his life with false accusations. You're damn right they could. That unfortunately definitely happens, right? I mean, it's happened to me. It doesn't take a lot once people start running with the stories. Witch hunts are useless. They really are. But the problem with the internet is you run your jibs and people believe it, and then they run with it and they tell other people, and two tell two, and four tell four. And pretty soon the entire country's talking smack. All right, people, I will be back 9 o'clock for sure. I may do one before that. Between now and the next time I see you, you should check out the Johnny Scoville. He's got seeds. He's growing super house. Chase the Heat, South America. You also should check out that blonde bombshell there. That is the Wiffle Pop Reese. Check her out at Relatable Reese. It is absolutely a fantastic channel. She's a lot of fun. I'm a little biased because I'm sleeping with her. But yeah, she's amazingly talented. You should go check her out. Hit subscribe. All right, people. Between now and then, you know what to do. Put a little love in your heart. I'm Tommy. We will see you tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern time for sure. Maybe before then, but guaranteed I'll be going at 9 o'clock Eastern time. I'm Tommy. See you on the next one. God bless.